and the SABGA would file their, they have until the 28th of September to file their affidavits. The government will reply by October 12th, and then, of course, the hearing will take place somewhere around the um, 19th of October at 2 p.m. So that essentially is the time frame in which the courts have given for the filing and obligations on either side. So once again, the lawyers for the SABGAs will file around the 28th of September. And then, of course, the responses, because you have to give all sides an opportunity, and therefore that would occur. The response will occur on the 12th of October, and then a hearing will be carded for around October 19th. I think there's another provision as well where the amendments to the original will also be facilitated. So it's quite a complex process for the ordinary person. But I thought it was important, of course, to share with you the processes. Why am I focusing on that? Because I want to tell you that the wheels of justice turn very slowly, and in my view, this is expedition of the process, because I think prior to that you would have waited until probably 2 years down the road before you have a first hearing and all of that. I think successive administration have recognized that, and with the cooperation of the judiciary, they were able, of course, to put things in place. So we have, of course, the civil proceedings rules. You also have the criminal proceedings rules as well, that make it time specific, so that people can get their matters adjudicated upon in a reasonably timely fashion, as opposed to what obtained prior. So I think we are, as far as the procedures and the processes relating to justice in this country, in the courts of the land, I think we are heading in the right direction. Not perfect, obviously, but certainly in the right direction. What again did we not look at too much this week? Well, there were at least four incidents dealing with the southern coast of our maritime, let's say, jurisdiction, where two pirogues capsized, one with people, one with, I understand, a boatload or a pirogue load of copper heading for Venezuela, and the people part of it also was heading for Venezuela, but capsized, and I think two persons drowned in the. I think it's 27 persons thereabout would have been in the one that was carrying human beings. And then you have another incident where marijuana, I think nearly 200 and something packets would have been confiscated as contraband, and the matter is now engaging the attention of the police off the coast of the Caracas and therefore the southern coast. And I think there was another one near Munoz Island. Munoz Island seemed to be in the news right through when coming to that. Of course, one would reminisce the kidnapping that took place some time ago, and I think it ended up as far as Colombia, if I'm not mistaken. What has happened to that? I don't know, but I'm sure that some of you may well know. And if not, well, we will certainly, as we have brought it up, we'll certainly do our investigations and find out whether there is any information there that should attract the national attention. So that is where we are with respect to that. I want to tell those persons who roll on, roll off businesses. I know that is a small man business, frankly, but that mild hybrid that you are concerned about, and customs have issued new, should I say, orders that these vehicles will not be considered, those mild vehicles will not be considered a hybrid in the definition that the government has outlined in its efforts to try to ease the traffic issues of families and or individuals, but at the same time to look at the environmental impact and therefore our footprint as far as our carbon emissions are concerned, because Trinidad and Tobago is one of the highest carbon emission countries, I believe, in the world, having regard to our population and the size and the activities that we have focused, of course, on the oil, gas, and petrochemical sector. We emit a lot of greenhouse gases, but the decision is, it appears that there was some controversy with respect to the rule on rule off persons. They're saying that if you do not qualify those vehicles, and maybe I should say what a mild vehicle is as opposed to a normal hybrid. Well, a mild vehicle has an electrical component, but it's only activated to assist the engine, whereas, of course, a pure hybrid vehicle would have electronic or electric as well as gas, and both of them would run the engine independently. But in the case of the mild vehicles, well, it is a electric, yes, component, but only operates to assist the engine when it is in full flight or in operation. So that's the difference. And the customs are saying that the latter is not a hybrid vehicle in the context of what the regulations would have stipulated as far as to benefit from tax exemption or import exemption coming in, being imported into Trinidad and Tobago. So I hope that in a very preliminary way would clarify that matter. So those Kidas and so on, those small vehicles that the rule on rule off fraternity is claiming is a hybrid, is not designated as a hybrid. It's called a mild vehicle or a mild hybrid, as the case may be, and therefore will not qualify for the benefits that the pure hybrid vehicles would, in terms of whether it's SUV or a general family use, I should say, vehicle. So I trust that that would clear up that, and maybe persons who know a little more of it, I'm sure that persons are listening, because the rule on rule off fraternity is claiming that it will add quite a lot of thousands of dollars to the consumer for the importation or for the purchase of such vehicles. And incidentally, of course, these vehicles must not be more than 3 years old, right, for importation. Now, talking about, of course, the second-hand ones, I'm not too concerned about the new ones, because that will find its own level, so to speak. All right, so that is where we are. So the lines are open. Of course, Snipes will give you the numbers to call us at this point in time, and we will continue with the program as we know it to be. And just in case, yes, I have it as well. So somebody might say, why Lennox and say it? All right, well, let me say it: 622-4911, 622-4911, and 394-4911 WhatsApp wise, 394-4911. I think there's another number that Snipes will have abreast of. And I want to tell you that you can, of course, deposit your voicemails as well, as we continue to treat with today's program in a manner that we normally would. That is to say, bring as much information with less entertainment, but much information, but at the same time do it in a manner that everybody could assimilate or make use of. So any number that I would have left off, Snipes, and good morning to you. Know that I have a physical presence of yourself.
Good morning to you, Lennox. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to the people in the chat who is alive and well. And let me say good morning to Andy as well. He definitely is online. He had to open his line with us. So good morning to you, Andy. I hope you're recovering nicely. I hope you're not in too much pain, and God is going to cover you. Don't worry about it. All right.
But
Lennox,
you notice I refuse to mention that medical issue because I am an eternal optimist. So I leave that alone because I believe that things are going to go all right. But that's a personal view, and therefore I do share it. But it's nice of you to have acknowledged that.
it's quite nice of you to share your view with us as well. Lennox, I don't know if I heard you correctly this morning when you said that the Hadids would not pursue any challenge against
Yeah,
was that
the lawyers are saying there's no need to, with respect to getting out of the prison scenario. There is no need to, but the substantive matter as to whether or not the original detention and the warrant issued and so on was legal, they are pursuing that. Right, but they're not pursuing again coming out of prison because they are out of the detention. In other words, the detention orders were withdrawn, so there's no need. So you remember that matter would have still been before the
all right,
courts.
so let me see if I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying clearly. You're saying to me that they're not going to challenge the POD,
The POD, that's right. There's no need to because they're outside and it was
but they're
revoked.
going to challenge the reason for the issuing.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that they were identified or targeted in the way that they were, they are pursuing that as a constitutional issue. Yeah.
Oh, all right, definitely. Let's find out what the people on the outside have to
Oh
say
yes,
about
oh yes, indeed. People, the lines are open. I don't want Anderson, and Anderson, I want to challenge you and say you are a coward, man. I send a link for you to come on the program and to expatiate as you would want to here.
Yeah,
You have
listen, as
you have limitations here. You have no limitations elsewhere, but yet still, you didn't take the opportunity. But that's all right.
he was
Others have.
probably busy, man. He was probably
All right,
busy.
okay, okay.
Anderson is
He did
usually
apologize, but just trying
the
to
first
taunt
person
him.
to call in the morning. You know.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Lennox and Mr. Knight.
Yes, good morning to you.
I'd like to know the Toyota Fielder. Is that considered as a hybrid vehicle?
Once it doesn't propel the engine as by itself, or should I say, the propel the vehicle by itself, is
motorized?
yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
definitely.
So the Fielder is not a hybrid.
It's not, yeah, because there is an electrical component where only when the engine is running, it triggers and boosts the engine, but it doesn't propel the vehicle on its own as the normal gas, and you could switch to the electric part of it as well. So, yeah, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. In terms of specifics, we would want to, of course, communicate with the roll-on, roll-off dealers because they are up in arms, having regard to the cost to them and consequential the additional cost to the consumer. And I think it's only right that we talk to them to hear what they have to say with respect to that. Of course, I know that the customs are very adamant that those kinds of vehicles, the mild vehicles, are not hybrid in the context of the benefit to be derived in terms of taxes, and the Ministry of Finance recently endorsed that position. So they may have to do some more work to get a better deal for the consumer ultimately. All right, so that is where we are at. Any other issue that we would want to address? Well, yes, there's quite a lot. We have, quite apart from the Hadids, this morning I was at pains to take note of the various issues that we did not touch at all this during the course of the week. There's anything that you have seen there that you would like me to
If you can quickly touch on the Prime Minister condemns the racist attack and calls for unity
wonderful
at this year's
yeah, wonderful. Yeah. In commemoration of emancipation this year, she did talk about the persons who use it as an opportunity to promote racial slurs and racial discrimination and so on. And yes, she did say that there is no place for that, and I think she used a term that I took note of this morning. Um, she used a term. Um, doesn't can't recall it now, but it was a specific term that shows some persons who use the opportunity to promote their racist agenda, and I think it is instructive um, to find it and to endorse what the prime minister is saying, that is in fact so, and we need to, as far as we can, eliminate that kind of division, that kind of bigotry, that kind of divisiveness that has stymied and will stymie the holistic development of Trinidad and Tobago. So I think that's the direction in which she would have made those statements. The lines are open, people. The lines are open very early. Yeah, I'm looking for the terminology that she used. I don't want to misquote her. And so, whilst I am looking for it, I expect that you would be doing your part in terms. Oh, yes, look at here. It says racist attack. Yes, right. So here we go. And she is saying, all right. It's a particular term that I want to really commit to memory, because I think it is so instructive, and I think it's important that you too recognize what's happening. But in the meantime, of course, the Trump administration's choice for the diplomat for Trinidad and Tobago, they were represented in that hearing. The Americans have a system where anybody with major appointments by the administration has to go through a particular process where they are interrogated by a particular committee. Well, at that committee in the United States, she did express her concern about the amount of SOEs that Trinidad and Tobago have been executing, and I think she made some comment about the management of state enterprises. Very interesting. I didn't get the details of the latter, but certainly the former, meaning that the state of emergency, certainly that is something she would have gleaned from even local concerns. And we have, for example, um, the head of the Criminal Bar Association, Israel Khan, condemning Al-Rari, who is one of the attorneys for the Hadids, in his statements, suggesting that his comments about the fact that the Privy Council was unable to hear that case expeditiously in London, that triggered the registrar of the Privy Council to send a letter to all of them, stating that it is a misrepresentation of their position. What the registrar said from the Privy Council in England is, listen, we cannot hear the case before October, and as a consequence, because we are going on recess now. However, we were prepared to make if there is an interim arrangement, we can hear the case relating to putting aside the interim order of the court. And what the head of the Bar Association, well, the Criminal Bar of Association, Israel Khan, is saying, listen, Al-Rari has, of course, brought the court into disrepute because he is expressing a position that is not that of the court, and triggered the registrar to write in to Trinidad, all parties are saying, listen, yes, we are unable to hear the substantive matter, that is to say the constitutional matter, but however, we are prepared to set aside if application was made by Al-Rari and they, who is the lawyers for Hadid, if they had done that, if they had done their work, we were prepared to listen to it before they go on leave, because it appears that the Privy Council is going on leave or is suspending their operations until October. Yeah.
So he did the wrong thing.
yeah.
And then complain.
Yeah, that's what happened. He did not do what he had to do, but then say that the Privy Council tell the state, because the state appealed, they wouldn't hear them until October. and suggesting that the slide the state now. That is
Wasn't
what
the
he suggested.
Republic trying
And the
to move away from the Privy Council at one point, sending cases abroad
well, I don't
and
think the
working with the
political
Caribbean
directorate.
Court of Justice or something like that?
Yeah, the political directorate opposed to the PNM. The PNM was vacillates on that, but I think the UNC has always been very, very clear that no way that they will remove Trinidad and Tobago from the Privy Council. Simply because of its supreme objectivity far away, even though the Privy Council itself have been saying, well, listen, only we know for us now.
Yeah.
But Trinidad and Tobago does not intend to win off of them. So we have that. But of course, the PNM, based on certain convenience, they would say, yes, let's go full blown the Caribbean Court of Justice, because that's the alternative as our apex or supreme or
So that
super
they
court.
don't trust the CCJ.
Yeah, that is the idea.
Hi,
They don't
good
trust
morning,
it.
welcome.
Too close. Good morning. Too close for comfort. Good morning.
Good morning to Mr. Snipe and to Mr. Lennox Smith.
Yes, good morning to you.
So I waited to come on all your programs too.
Oh yes, I mean the appropriate arrangement could be made. If you could call me personally, I will talk with the authorities in order to have it happen. We don't have total autonomy, so to speak, especially in that area.
And to a blessed and a happy Emancipation Day to our African brothers and sisters. We all must celebrate with one another. And I wish our Prime Minister a blessed and a happy emancipation also, that we all, this is our country, let us give respect to one another and be our brothers and sisters keeper. Mr. Lennox Smith,
Hey.
we must bring the ignorance from high places and perish it. When I listening to you, so I had just be so surprised of you. You know, the way you talk, the way you speak. I would have never meet a person like you, so. But oh my God.
Thank
I'm
you.
waiting for
Thank you,
that day.
thank you very much for all of that
Waiting for it.
commendation.
Please.
All right, thanks. Yes, indeed. Of course, the lines are open, and we want to hear from you. What is on your mind, or what is your front burner issue? I'm trying to look for that phrase that was used by the Prime Minister. I think it's very
You
instructive.
find that phrase yet?
No, I find it.
Phrases that you looking for.
No, I find it at all, boy.
What is this? Hello, welcome. Lost that one.
Yeah, we lost that one.
Yeah.
Yes, we give way all the time, but I'm still searching. Yes, indeed. So that is yeah.
6224911 6224911, and you can call us via WhatsApp at 3944911. That's 3944911. Hi, good morning.
Good
welcome.
morning.
Yes, gentlemen, morning again.
Yes.
Lennox, I
Hey.
would like to get your opinion. You made a statement just now that Sipes asked you if it is that the UNC's view on the PCG is a matter of discuss.
Mhm.
Categorically stated in your view that is so.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is it that they are justified? Do you think that the UNC might be justified in having that level of distrust? And do you think there is an event, an instance, or a series of situations or circumstances might lend credibility to the UNC's conclusion that they are a little wary of the trust of the CCG and at least in its current format? Do you think, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think there is justification and should I say disquiet, for want of a better expression, disquiet, and especially in recent times. But let's go to the line first, and of course I'll conclude my analysis. Good morning. Oh, not yet. Yes, because here recently, for example, when the Americans came in.
I was even going to extend it to whether the population, Trinidad and Tobago, how does the population feel about
I think there is consensus. there certainly is not unanimity, but certainly consensus, meaning that the majority, in my view, are comfortable with the Privy Council. Of course, they share the argument of that of the UNC in the sense that distance away, no connection whatsoever. And I think what transpired recently with respect to the Americans, let's go to the lines and then we'll continue. Good morning, welcome.
Yes, General may have been. I know you didn't cut me off.
No.
Thanks again. Just raise that question. What do you think the consensus of the population might be? This is not just to be, defaming anybody or intend to demean anybody. But do you really think in a matter of this nature, law and final decision and so on, do you think that our population en masse is sufficiently educated and informed to make a dispassionate conclusion on the question you just raised?
Wonderful. That's a beautiful question. Beautiful question. In my
It's like the caller is reading my mind.
my personal view, no, I don't think that they are sufficiently well informed. That is my position on the matter. Whether that would, yeah.
Lennox, can I offer this to that discussion as we all continue, right?
Yeah, okay.
Is it possible for the, now not the UNC, but the government, is it possible for the government to set up a scenario similar to what occurred, if you can remember? Remember when we had that constitutional situation when Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj insisted that the constitution was made available to everybody and they would have discussions and explain how it works and so on?
Yes.
Is it possible for the government to set up a situation, I don't know, some way inject it into the curriculum? I don't know if long time we used to call it civics, where we teach how the country functions, what the offices are for, who are the individuals in the office, how you separate an individual from the office holder, things of that nature, to inject something like that into the education system. So the generation that has been lost already, we can't save them, but at least moving forward to the future, if we really want a future for that, you can have now children who are being equipped from an early age to develop the ability to process and understand the information, understand the roles of government holders in office, the various parties and principles involved, etc., etc., etc. And so inject this very specific stuff because it affects not you and I, we going go to the maker just now. It's the future generation that has to carry this thing on. So it injects a discussion into the society now so that they prepared to make a decision, an informed and intellectual decision, not based on emotions, because their future and the future of their families, etc., will be tied up in the final outcome of whether the Privy Council is to be retained or the CCJ is to be accepted. You understand what I'm saying now?
Not only understand, I want to just respond with one word. Absolutely. It is an imperative. It must be.
Well, seeing that you're so close to the truth, and I know you are a man of limited words at all. Maybe you can make a representation. You can speak to the relevant authorities, and because of your background, because of your teaching background and so on, maybe yourself and Daulat can work out. The Prime Minister might be able to give you an acting position in the Ministry of Education. You never said, I could be hired as your driver, not a problem.
You look at my work already.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, but I want to say on this,
also opening that little what seems to now in this century be a Pandora's box, because I would remember that common entrance students, they would have started teaching you from common entrance age about constitution and laws. Yeah. Very simply.
Yeah, the college, right? It's called civics. Yeah.
The way the parliament functions, who sits where, who represents what. And over the years, for some reason, it seems to have
taken a back burner scenario. Not just a back burner, I think it's off the cards.
Spoke just now, for the first time, in many years, because I mean, it might have just flashed across my mind, but for the first time in many years, I am wondering if it was deliberately done.
No boy, oh boy. Oh
You
boy, oh
understand,
boy.
Lennox?
I hear you.
I,
I
I
hear
am
you.
I am wondering now if it was deliberately done that way to accomplish a particular purpose. Because if I ask any student about the highest court, or where do we go if we have an issue that we're not able to solve, they may not be able to
Yeah.
tell me.
But I want to say categorically, I don't even want to say depending on who you ask. I think it's a general accepted. It was generally accepted that they wouldn't know.
You know,
Generally accepted, from my view.
for the first time in many years, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course our callers, for the first time in many years, we have an incident where it brought the process back into play. Where do you go to get redress of a particular magnitude when you get yourself caught up in something? And a lot of people looking at the bacchanal, but they're not looking at the issue that came up to solve issues. If you understand what I'm
No,
saying.
no, quite. As confusing as it may appear to be. Let's go to the line. We have a caller. Let's go to the line, and then, of course,
Sorry to
we'll.
be interrupting your program.
No problem. Go ahead.
And like, the answer to your question as to whether Trinidad might have that ingrained in their psyche, there's a show on the internet uh, where this guy stops and asks people questions and whatever.
Yeah.
They give answers. And it gives you an insight, especially sadly, this gives me no pleasure to say it, but it sadly gives you an insight as to how should I put that? How broadly separate the average Trinidadian is from intellectualism.
Yeah.
They,
Wow.
I mean, you know, they're miles apart from accuracy. And that's why, for example, you would have had almost in a comedic version the other day. I really said that if she runs the race and the 50-second place, she wins because they don't. You see, the problem with this scenario, as I said before in a previous comment, in another day, there was an attempt by the powers that be then. No need to call these acronyms. I think you know who they are. To invest in anything other than this, people getting bright. So the system was designed in such a way to keep you below average, to produce workers, KFC, and et cetera, by and large, and to prepare you to go and work for CPEP and so on. That's the education system was designed for that. And that's why, for example, Lennox will tell you, I don't know what your English tonight, but Lennox will tell you that at one point in time, all we had was CBC and Radio Trinidad and Radio Guardian. That's it. And that changed with the change of our government. And we then became exposed to the wider world. Measures were put in place to broaden the minds of people. The most dangerous thing for the former government is knowledge. They are afraid of knowledge. They are afraid of people learning to process, becoming educated, self-aware. Because the minute that happens, the average person will see through the nonsense, and they can't afford that.
Yeah.
So they keep you in ignorance. They invest in your ignorance in order to keep them in power, and that, interestingly, is not unique to them. That's the way the world works. That's the way the system works. And so going back to your situation where the average should not be able to answer a question or give an intellectual response to any question, as a matter of fact, that revolves around our day-to-day activity here in Trinidad. You might be surprised to know that it's not only the kindergarten or the primary school or the secondary school student that might fail. Lennox will tell you, I'm sure. Lennox will tell you that even people in the facility of teaching, you would ask them an intellectual question. First, to begin with, you listen to their grammar and you're feeling upset in this regard because you want to know how these people can become teachers, and they can't string a sentence together that is properly constructed, proper grammar. They can't do that. And then even to carry another conversation further and to have an intellectual exchange with dispassionate and free from emotion and agree to disagree and so on. That's another thing I said. So, gentlemen, that's the last time I'm calling you for the day, but good program as usual.
Thank you very much.
My application for your driver, I will send it to you. All right?
All right. I hope it's not put on the back burner or on the shelf. Good morning. Welcome.
Pleasant morning to the ground report.
Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning to Lennox Smith, the Englishman. Good morning to Nigel Snipes behind the switchboard.
Good morning.
And to Andy Williams, regardless to which part you is. You all here in Tabaki this morning again.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear, yes.
So let me do this, and this will tie in my point in the conversation. So let me say a traditional way in greeting the African community, Alapia, Hotep, and Amanza. I greet you in traditional Kemet language from Kemet. Happy emancipation. Lennox and Nigel Snipes are going to ask a provoking question very respectively, but it needs to be asked. Let's do a quick post-mortem on the 9 years of Dr. Rowley. The question Tabakit is going to ask, since they were powerful African men and women in the Rowley administration, the question Tabakit asks, how much African millionaires did Dr. Rowley created in 10 years? I'll tell you why. If you listen on the backdrop of that Syrian woman was talking to the Syrian young girl, they're not going to get any more, which means so much they would have got from the treasury. If I were to flip the script and I were to say within Dr. Rowley 9 years to 10 years, but prior to that, when we look at the African community in for instance, where you live, Lennox, you can ask yourself, it's in the heart of the capital city. When you pass where Anderson, my friend, is living, and you see, you get the stench from that drain, I'm billing my case. And the point that I am making, the question I'm going to ask the new minted weak belly penny beckles, you would have sat within the last 10 years in the Rowley administration. The very said African community that you're lobbying for, to lobby for them to speak out for the Syrian community. The question Tabaki begged this morning, the $1 billion, was Penny there when Dr. Rowley was ostracizing the African community? Did she tell him, let us create African millionaires? And the $1 billion question to you, Nigel Snipes, and my good friend Lennox Smith. And this is a burning question, need to be answered now. How much African millionaires did that Dr. Rowley created in the last 10 years? And why Ms. Beckles didn't say then and there, let us fix. Now, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't fix the entire country and all citizens. But I'm saying if you was talking black, 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 and now you realize Penny is throwing poison to the mob. The question Tabaki begged this morning, on the eve of emancipation, why it is the PNM only use African as a voting bank. Let me repeat this, Lennox, and my friend Nigel Snipes. Why it is the PNM only use the African community as a voting bank, and when they get in there, The said 1% and the parasitic oligarchies, they become millionaires. Can Penny answer that question? Can the Marabuntas who would want to call to answer? This is a burning question. I am saying, Tabakit is saying, within the PNM from 1962 to roughly 10 years, they did not create any African millionaires, but what they did instead, they used the treasury to ensure that the 1%, and let me rub the salt in the wound. That is why the Syrian woman could have talked to the young girl and say, look, we are going to get anything again, because they realized Dr. Rowley sat on a platform with Natalie Lebor, and he said, you must get the rich richer before the poor comes up. And right away, he was speaking there specifically to the African community in the PNM, or you can't get anything yet. Let me enrich the Syrian, and they will give all you something. Lennox and Nigel Snipes, I'd like to hear all your take on that. Why Dr. Rowley did not create any African millionaires, since we right now on the heels, so to speak, of the emancipation. I thank you. I wait for a response.
Thank you. Very, very, very huge question.
Yeah, but no, you know, if I sung as if I am stunned, or put another way, would find myself in an ineffable situation,
You're
meaning
not,
that I don't have
you're
words
not
to
usually
express.
a man with
Yeah,
limited
because I am stunned from the point of view of the level of what I consider understanding of the issue, having regard to the material that we have gotten from the callers so far. And I'm sure that there are others, and this might well be a microcosm of what is out there. So therefore, there's a level of consciousness. And whilst he was talking, there are several things that was coming through my mind, because his essence is why it is that we, even though a so-called African-oriented party would have been in office longer than everybody else, and let's not waste time with that, why it is that more Africans are not millionaires in this country. I think that was his specific question. But let's go to the line.
Quickly go to the lines, because we must take a break.
Yeah, we must take a break thereafter. So people, it's interruption after interruption, but we will get there. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Smith and
Yes.
Mr. Snipe.
Good morning.
I'm referring to the gentleman before with the dialect.
Yes.
And I remember for a medical reason I went to the penal health center. And while waiting to be attended to, administration and registered nurse using certain dialects. I even talked to the patient next door. I said, but are we sounding like we from behind Tina? And he said, but we are in Tina. The funny thing is, they are registered professionals, and you would swear. Anyhow, I'll leave it.
Caller,
He's
just before
appalled.
you-
He's appalled.
Just before
He's
you
stunned.
leave, caller, you there? He's gone. I want you to take note that dialect on any island or in any country or in any village, in any part of the world is definitely accepted. I'm not speaking of foul language. I'm speaking of because you use the word dialect. You know, and Lennox would often make reference to dialect when he speaks of when somebody tells him you're not pronouncing it right, and he would often make reference to dialect. If you go to do languages at the university, they would teach you that dialect is definitely accepted, and you can't discriminate against one's dialect.
Yeah, but I think what he's talking about is the level of obnoxiousness, not necessarily foul in the sense of obscenity, but certainly it is irking to the ears. I mean, you get pain in the ears when you hear people talking about the way when you expect a certain different disposition on the matter. In other words, um,
But bad
I
grammar
can
is
see I know saying
bad grammar is different from dialect. Eh?
yeah, but the thing is that dialect foments
Bad
bad
grammar.
grammar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, that correct, bro?
That is true.
Yeah, yeah.
That is true.
Anyhow,
Let's take one more
let's take
before we
another call.
close off
Good
this hour.
morning.
Good morning, Lennox.
Good morning.
Andy, I know he's a pit bull and you know Potong. I saw Potong get bounced down yesterday in the party, and he still get up, he walk. But when he reach on the bridge, it fell long and that was it. He's a pit bull. Pit bull don't die, so. But
All
then
right.
you're coming back.
Okay,
strong.
because I know you want to bring that for the capiche. I'm not going to say leave that for the capiche, but go ahead.
All right. Lennox,
Yeah.
as we celebrate emancipation, long time the slaves used to get pay. In slavery days, they used to get pay or they used to just work.
Well, work, of course, with some whip.
Work and whip.
Yeah, you were
I think
purchased.
our whip in this upkeeping program, and you see, I can't say that they ain't like me, but my father see somebody like you, tell them you love them.
We have just about 1 minute to the news.
Right? So if somebody call him, long time when they call me big head, daddy say call them small head. In that way you can't get in no trouble at all.
Yeah.
We look at the emancipation, and some like to cook, some like to take a walk in observe the parade. Some don't even study that. Likewise, myself. We don't make that no big issue. At least people want to cook this weekend. I know what people watching, should gonna never get a late payment, you know. Then they go say, yo, we Anderson talking. Why is only Port Spain? And those in Aranguez, we get 2 checks yesterday. So I open that today, that those workers in Port Spain, whether it's by a first citizen, always last, I don't know how.
We had enough to the news. We had enough to the news, Anderson.
Chairman and members of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the capsizing and sinking of the MV Barima in Guyana were sworn in on Thursday. President Irfan Ali assured that the commission will be provided with the necessary support for the effective discharge of its mandate. Speaking to the commissioners following the ceremony, President Ali said the tragedy has brought immeasurable grief to the entire country, and the truth must be uncovered as families continue to mourn.
Our nation deserves a full, fair, and impartial account of what occurred, why it occurred, and what must be done to ensure that such a tragedy is never repeated. It is in fulfillment of that responsibility that this Commission of Inquiry has been established.
He said the commission will be given all the resources necessary to ensure they can discharge their duties and outlined what is expected.
They require the Commission to determine the facts, examine the causes and contributing factors, evaluate compliance with applicable laws and operational standards, assess the effectiveness of the search, rescue, and recovery operations, identify any shortcomings or failures, and recommend reforms necessary to strengthen the safety and resilience of our maritime transportation system. The nation awaits such report.
President Ali expressed confidence in the expertise of the team of commissioners and expressed gratitude to them for taking up the task. In other news, Republic Financial Holdings Limited has recorded a $1.52 billion TT dollars in profit for the 9-month period which ended June 30th, 2026. The company said this represents an increase of 24 million TT dollars, up 1.6% from the corresponding period in the prior year. Its chairman, Yashmid Karamath, said the results reflected the strength and resilience of the group's regional operations despite challenging global economic conditions. RFHL reported $134.6 billion in total assets, $105.3 billion in customer deposits, and $17.4 billion in shareholders' equity. The board also declared an interim dividend of $1 TT per share, payable on August 28th to shareholders. Chairman Karamath said the group remains focused on technology investment, prudent risk management, and sustainable growth. 72 students from 24 primary schools showcased their creativity and environmental stewardship in the Solid Waste Management Company Limited's Trash to Art competition. Libertyville TML Primary School emerged victorious from among 24 primary school entries. Chief Executive Officer Ria Ramdeen noted that the challenge encouraged students to think critically about the impact of everyday waste.
This competition serves as a reminder that waste is not merely something to be discarded. With imagination and vision, it can be repurposed into something of value. The artworks showcase, which we do have some present here today, challenge us to think differently about consumption, recycling, and environmental stewardship. They inspire us to become more conscious of our impact on the environment and our role in building a more sustainable future.
Minister in the Ministry of Public Utilities, Clyde Elder, said the competition aligned with the government's environmental goals by encouraging sustainable behavior.
The competition also supports the broader objectives of the Ministry of Public Utilities and the Government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago by promoting environmental awareness, encouraging sustainable behaviors, and empowering young people to become active participants in building cleaner, healthier, and more resilient communities. Through initiatives such as Trash to Art, SWIMCOL continues to advance the national agenda for environmental sustainability while inspiring the next generation of environmental stewards.
In sport, Eddie Howe has stepped down as Newcastle United manager just 4 weeks before the new English Premier League season begins. The 48-year-old leaves with immediate effect after nearly 5 years in charge, a tenure highlighted by guiding Newcastle to their first major domestic trophy in 70 years, with the 2025 League Cup and securing Champions League qualification in 2023 and 2025. His departure follows discussions with the club's hierarchy over the past 48 hours, with several outlets reporting Howe's desire to take a break from management. The exit comes after a disappointing campaign in which Newcastle finished 12th in the Premier League, suffering 17 defeats. His final game was a 4-1 preseason loss to Bristol City on Wednesday. And that was your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Coming up, more on Trinidad and Tobago today.
You're listening to Talk City 91.1 FM's Emancipation Day feature.
The influence of African heritage can be found throughout Trinidad and Tobago's culture, from language and cuisine to music, spirituality, storytelling, and festivals. African traditions have helped shape the identity of our nation. The rhythms of the drum, the vibrancy of our folk traditions, and the strength of our community values all reflect a legacy that has endured through generations. Emancipation Day provides an opportunity to celebrate these contributions and to deepen our appreciation for the rich African heritage that continues to enrich our society. As we celebrate, we recognize that preserving and passing on this heritage is a responsibility shared by all.
This Emancipation Day feature was brought to you by Talk City 91.1 FM, the heartbeat of the nation.
Attention parents and guardians, the back-to-school season is here and Michael Muhammad's bookstore is ready to help you get your children prepared for the new school term. We're excited to welcome you to our 2 new locations, Kane Street, Vistabella, conveniently located next to the Vistabella Presbyterian Primary School, Debe, next to Modern Electrical, in collaboration with Muhammad's Bookstore 1988 Limited. Of course, you can still visit our long-standing location on Point-a-Pear Road, San Fernando, for all your school supplies, textbooks, stationery, backpacks, and much more. This back-to-school season, make shopping easy at Michael Muhammad's Bookstore. Visit our new locations in Vistabella and Debe, or our San Fernando branch, and find everything you need under one roof. Michael Muhammad's Bookstore, helping students start the school year right. Every morning begins with a story. The headlines you need, the voices you trust, the conversations shaping our nation. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today, where your day starts informed and inspired. News that matters to you. Conversations that spark new ideas. Stories that move Trinidad and Tobago forward. Tune in weekdays, Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. or join the conversation on any smart device at TNT Today Show. Trinidad and Tobago Today. Start here, exclusively on TTT.
The plays that shake the arenas. The stories that move a nation.
Are we in for a super over? I've got to go quick. I've got to go quick.
From football to cricket, track to tennis, every win, every rivalry, every headline. This is where Trinidad and Tobago come for sports.
TTT Sports with Nasira Mohammed, daily at 7 p.m.
But Johnny, how come your house is twice the size of mine, but my bill is twice the cost of yours? Johnny, what's going on, boy? How your bill so low? How your bill so low? I conserving energy, I switch your LED, at the stun of the AC, and I saving real money. It's our responsibility for a brighter TNT. Cut the waste and you would see. Why everybody asking me? They asking how you been so low? How you been so low? TN Tech, powering the nation into the next generation.
This Emancipation Day, we invite you to experience history, not through books, but through people, performance, and storytelling. From change to celebration. On August 1st, experience the grand finale of the Tobago Heritage Festival 2026. The journey begins at James Park from 5 p.m. as we parade through the streets of Scarborough, culminating at the Milford Road Esplanade. Be part of the journey. Be part of the celebration. Join us for the Tobago Heritage Festival 2026 Emancipation Day Parade.
Connect with Sharon is now live Monday to Thursday from 12:10 p.m. to 1 p.m. on Talk City 91.1 FM. Join veteran broadcaster Sharon Farfan as she gives a voice to the voiceless, tackles the issues that matter most, and connects you with the people who can make a real difference. From community concerns to consumer issues, when the conversation starts with Sharon, action follows. Connect with Sharon now Monday to Thursday 12:10 p.m. to 1 p.m. only on Talk City 91.1 FM, your station for talk, connect, make a difference.
Attention parents and guardians, the back-to-school season is here and Michael Muhammad's bookstore is ready to help you get your children prepared for the new school term. We're excited to welcome you to our 2 new locations. Kane Street, Vistabella, conveniently located next to the Vistabella Presbyterian Primary School. Debe, next to Modern Electrical, in collaboration with Muhammad's Bookstore 1988 Limited. Of course, you can still visit our long-standing location on Point-a-Pear Road, San Fernando for all your school supplies, textbooks, stationery, backpacks, and much more. This back-to-school season, make shopping easy at Michael Muhammad's Bookstore. Visit our new locations in Vistabella and Debe or our San Fernando branch and find everything you need under one roof. Michael Muhammad's Bookstore, helping students start the school year right.
If it matters to you, it matters to us. We report the news, real stories in real time. TTT News, nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Stirring up energy, rise to the occasion.
Energy starts here. Yo, stamina energy, still what I'm gonna energy, still what I'm gonna energy is the truth to keep me pumping, busy, to keep me moving, to keep me grooving, to keep me pumping. All night and day, energy right, so go all night. It's stamina energy that give me life.
Stamina energy, rise to the occasion. Available now in strawberry lemonade. Only 5 calories. Pure energy.
This is Destra, and you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City. Keep it locked.
Yes, indeed. We are back. We are back. Time check is just about 15 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. And how time flies on this program, I don't know. We have a number of issues that would have been raised that merits response and, of course, demanded by some of the callers so far in terms of why it is that the African community is where it is in the context of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, juxtaposing that and in relation to the fact that we would have had a political organization, let's not try to polish anything that has claimed that it is the let's say the author of Africanism in Trinidad and Tobago, and therefore its ethos, its purpose, its raison d'etre is related to fostering, one assumes, that particular ethnic group. We are not talking, of course, ethnopolitics here, but what we are talking here is the reality of Trinidad and Tobago, and the fact that generally the society is dissatisfied with the performance of the African community as a stated or pellucid fact. How do we deal with that? In responding to that particular question as to why we are where we are, one cannot divorce the role of the PNM in this process. I want to put that on the table before, of course, we move further. And I'm saying so not only because of their own confessions over the years, but some of the utterances and maybe policies and programs that they would have devised in favor of or perceivably the African community believe it would have been directed to them. And clearly some of these statements that would have been made this morning speaks to a level of inadequacy. I don't want to say misdirection. I don't want to say false, what I consider to be policy creation to give the illusion that it is in their interest, the African individual or community's interests. I try to be as diplomatic as possible, but I cannot, in terms of making sure that my own integrity on this whole process, or in response to that, is not compromised. Because here it is, I remember very distinctly under Betham, and PNM in opposition as they are today. And when there was some controversy, some violent behavior and antisocial action there, he said in no uncertain terms, as leader in opposition, that Betham is a special place with special people, requires special attention. And when he eventually got into office in 2015, the issue was raised by the succeeding opposition, which would have been the UNC, as to those very statements that would have been made. And he did make it as well, it turned out, in that particular exercise, when he was attacking his own leader at the time. Let us not waste time with that as well, Patrick Manning, in order to replace or supplant him as leader. He made a similar statement. And I'm sure many of you will remember in the parliament, he said that listen, not one person even though NAPA and all these other programs were being constructed, not one person from Betham, Sealats, Diego Martin, etc., got a single job there. He said that. So there is some consistency in terms up to when he was either attacking or should I say vying for the leadership of the PNM and to replace Patrick Manning, and then of course leading up to when in fact he got it, and his statement on the Betham cannot be should I say, divorced from this argument, because it is clear that up to that point in time, the African community would have been, he was a African-focused person, and one would have expected naturally he would have been an African-focused prime minister. That's the point I'm making. And therefore, his policies and programs would have been so constructed or designed. And when he was asked the question, having acquired the position of prime minister, and there was the statement that he made about affirmative action. I remember that very distinctly, because affirmative action simply refers to a situation where a particular section of any society or any community being unable to reach the standard that the rest of the society would have reached, and therefore is, in other words, a downtrodden part of the society, and using my words, and therefore an embarrassment. You need to put mechanism in place to, of course, bring them up to scratch and therefore level the playing field. You know what he responded? What he responded and said? Listen, he couldn't pursue affirmative action even though he's now prime minister, because the UNC had shut it down. You know what I say? I said he said that he was not prepared or could not have pursued affirmative action because the UNC, the opposition, shut it down. I leave it there for the callers to make their own assessment. I leave it there because I have my own. It's obvious I have my own. But then he went on, vice prime minister, in a very emancipation morning day, and says that he is disappointed with the African community because they are at the lowest rung of the socio-economic ladder. I want to say psychocultural as well. But socio-economic ladder. He was disappointed. And then he went again on another occasion at the Success Laventille and making reference to a successful African family in the United States where they were able to control or to corner many of the airports, let's say, refurbishing and develop a very serious multi-million-dollar business. And he was making reference there in Laventille to why the Laventille people cannot be so, let's say, filled, saturated with a similar aspiration. And I thought that was wonderful. I thought it was beautiful until at the end of what he had to say demonstrated to me of the elitist agenda of the upper echelons of the PNM party, utilizing the African community as mere vote banks, as the callers would have already identified this morning. You know why? He said what he said, suggesting that it was designed to motivate the Africans in Laventille and all of these communities that would have been listening to him, of course, inside the very community. But he did it to promote his good friend, Warner, and asked the question why it is Warner cannot come to Trinidad as a contractor and do as well as the others in Trinidad. Of course, beaten down and making reference to the other ethnic group that would have dominated the construction fraternity in Trinidad and Tobago. So he was promoting one individual because that person happened to be his friend. And he really had nothing, it had nothing to do with the generic malaise of the African community and the fact that it has been left behind. And therefore, as Prime Minister, one would have thought that he would have been advocating a position that would provide that affirmative action agenda that he referred to whilst in opposition and attempting to unseat Manning. It will not to be none of it. So, conclusion, apart from leaving you to draw your own conclusion on the first issue, I want to say it was never about the African community. Let's go to the line, and it still isn't. A pleasant good morning. Pleasant good morning. Welcome. Lost that one?
Caller, please listen on the phone.
Yeah, lower the volume on that device that you have there. We'll have to ignore that call if not. All right, so the numbers to call. I don't want to take up too much of the talk because I can talk until, as Anderson would say, until thy kingdom come.
622-4911, 622-4911, and 394-4911. Those are your WhatsApp. That's your WhatsApp number.
Yes, indeed, and of course, I would love to hear the comments because I mean, it over the years it has put the African community at a tremendous disadvantage. And when one looks at the other islands of the Caribbean, whether it's Grenada, St. Vincent, and so on, you see Africans commanding the commanding heights of the economy there. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if I could switch up a little bit, but I could switch it a little bit.
You have something to share? Go ahead.
Yes, of course. Once it's devoid of obscenity.
No. I'm hoping for the dialogue too.
Okay.
Emancipation is a day that could move.
Is a day what?
That could move.
Like emancipation day, like tomorrow. Like in a day, like let me say, we come together and we move the day. That could happen.
Well, collectively, if the body that does the celebration and who has applied for the day,
and there is consensus.
There's consensus. Of
I suppose the government would be would have to, of course, consider it at least. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
There must be a good reason, though.
Mm-hmm. Right, because we could on a little memory lane with concerning this right trying to say here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have thought about emancipation in school, growing up, coming up.
If we were taught, no, we weren't taught emancipation, but we thought, of course, slavery and the eventual emancipation. So it's in that context, yes.
Yeah, because I didn't get taught at all, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the reason for our comment saying this now, the reason why it doesn't get taught of emancipation in school is because it is on a holiday. You follow me?
Go ahead. Trying to.
I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on a school day, which the other celebration has been on. You know, you could dress your child and cry them out to school the next day. You go put them in a dashiki. You go get quiz. You go get schooling. On a school day now. It's not on a school day.
Yeah, well. Today, this year, it happened to fall on a weekend, but on many occasions, the first, because it is on the 1st of August, and therefore the 1st of August could also fall on a. Oh, you mean the school will be on holidays? That we're talking about? Oh, I see. Oh, right. But in that context, I thought you were talking about. Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
You follow me there?
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. School is on holidays. All right.
I am yet to follow you. Lennox seems to understand. Probably he'll explain it.
Yeah. He's saying that maybe they should move the date. That's where I believe his conclusion would go. He moved the date to a day where school is not on holiday, because remember you have the August holiday.
Correct.
Right, and now, and if it is in August, it means school will be out, and therefore.
What do we hope to accomplish by doing this?
Well, go ahead, caller. Explain yourself.
Well, they publish, right? You know, gotta rewrite the book.
Right.
If we go in with delicacy.
Yeah.
Right. We go in with clothing, like the store, wherever we go in with clothing.
Right.
Cloth. Mm-hmm. Right. And then now you know, this is where we will see all who really into Africans or not concerning racist now. If you
Yeah.
take your child in that.
Yeah. I know. I understand what you're saying, because you're saying that because it is in the smack of a lengthy holiday, school is out. There is no opportunity, for example, as has been with other holidays. You can, of course, wear and have an exercise about emancipation. There is no opportunity for that because school is out. I hear you.
It do have the opportunity.
Yeah.
I put my daughter in a sari already.
Yes.
Because I'm not taking them away from that.
Right. Because a holiday as well. Yeah.
Yes.
But isn't the teachings, the teaching should be able to be taught at any time, and there's no special time to teach children about their heritage and their culture and their history.
Yeah, but the celebration of that day.
Well, it gives the parents, the people in the home who have that descent and who share that culture, an opportunity to take their children out to the village. I suggest it's on holiday. You would set aside some time to do some stuff with your children. It's better suited to take them out and educate them. It doesn't only have to come from the school, you know.
No, well, I just be in the celebration, and for me, it's a big people celebration because
you don't see a lot of children.
Correct.
No. I take the point. I take the point of the caller, you know.
So then, is it that the parents who share this history are dropping the ball?
No. They will drop the ball because it's not a special day in a sense to say, well, I have to prepare for school tomorrow. I have to go and buy clothes. I have to turn into a king or a queen. Competition.
So then
to get delicacy, I have to make tulum, I have to make my little.
But what I'm saying to you, caller, it should not depend on a special day for you to teach your children in the household the roots and the culture.
No, I had no. I will do that. I don't do it already.
No. I take what caller.
And yeah,
I understand what you're saying. Absolutely, because every single school in the country, if it was on us, if the next day, if it was within the school period, not the holiday period, would have had some kind of exercise pertaining to
that is what
that is what he's talking about, right? To emancipation. Every single school in the country.
I understand.
But there is no opportunity in this particular case because it is in the smack of when school is closed. Yeah.
Right.
That is the context in which. That is why he asked the question. I tell you, these scholars are very, very bright.
I know, understand.
Yeah, very bright.
He's getting at.
One nice lady, Miss Bandona Moet, Miss Bandona first to go on.
Yeah.
She does full emancipation celebration, right? But in the venue now is chubby and doubles. When it's supposed to African delicacy, if you're really coming out.
Yes.
Well,
if you are into it, you should of course have everything African oriented. Yeah.
Oriented.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So this is my contribution, and I try spreading the word, but it really go nowhere. So I'm trying to use Lennox or the platform this morning in order for we to.
We understand implicitly, my friend.
Thank you so very
Wonderful.
much for that.
Yes.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Thanks for hearing me. Thanks.
Yes, man.
You
see where I'm coming from?
I grasp what he's trying to say now, and he has a very, very salient point.
Yeah.
Let's go to the WhatsApp line.
Yes. Good morning. Welcome.
Morning, Lennox.
Yes. Good morning.
And the Stripes. Lennox.
Yes.
Where slavery is concerned, does emancipation belong to just black people alone?
No. These days, I think it is a concept, and in practice, people generally would want to recognize it for emancipation on several fronts, but it's more the physical in specificity as far as tomorrow is concerned. But certainly, you have mental and other types of emancipation that you have to engage in.
Nothing wrong if white African come and celebrate this emancipation, no?
Nothing wrong with that, no.
Because why I say that some people down here feel they're more African than African, and they go take offense to that.
Oh, yeah. Some people may, but
In Trinidad, yeah, we feel it's more African than African.
yeah, but I mean, it will reduce at minimum our concept of being cosmopolitan, multiracial, multi-ethnic, and we can go on and
Because
on, religious, etc.
what I say also is that you have to also understand the identity of the African themselves, because of certain local thinking. They are feeling they're more African than African because it's a white African, it's a red African,
Yes,
it's all kind of African.
Yes. You're
But
quite right.
down here, a fella in emancipation thing, trying to celebrate it, go say, nah, them is not no African.
Yeah,
But
because the
slavery is not
texture of
about
your hair
to
and the
just
color
we
of the
alone.
skin. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Slavery is not about to we alone.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, very, very, very sagacious contributions, man. That's lovely. I love that level of consciousness. The lines are open, people. Of course, 622 4911. Let's go. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Lennox.
Yes, good morning to you.
I just have a little point now. Respond to the guy who talked about the Emancipation Fall on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We all Trinidad and Tobago know the first of August is Emancipation Day.
Yeah.
We have a little while to prepare for Emancipation. Just as Diwali. When Diwali falls, people are whole 6-7 months prepare for Diwali.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has to know the time and how to operate to celebrate the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give and take.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I mean, as I say, these are cosmopolitan country. I see a lot of Africans that be on Diwali Day celebrating with also the Indians, but we have much time to think,
Mm-hmm.
to organize itself for emancipation because they will never change the date from the 1st of August.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So we all have time.
but you understand where the caller was coming from.
Yes.
That it is not in the smack of a school, let's say, session, a semester, but it's when school closed. So you have a greater emphasis. If school will be the next day or a lead up to school, the school must of necessity have some kind of activity pertaining to that day. So Diwali has that opportunity because it is not in a full-blown holiday scenario. It is exercised not in a full-blown holiday scenario. You see, that is the way he's coming. That is where he's coming from. And therefore, the inculcation or the appreciation is less effective as opposed to if it was in a different situation.
Barack Paul, one of my favorite.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to the line. President, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And happy and peaceful Emancipation Day to the African community and Trinidad and Tobago on the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, there's a saying that goes, experience is the greatest teacher of all.
Yes.
And we having this discussion right now about where the African population stands, where our economy is concerned. And, well, even Stevie Wonder can see and make a judgment as to where they stand, right? But what people must try to understand, how unique Trinidad and Tobago is, that we are blessed with so many different cultures of ethnicity in this country that make up our society, that you have every bit of examples that you can take to generate success in your life if you choose to. You understand? We saw where the Indian community came from and where they are today. We saw the Syrian community where they came from. Well, that is a bit controversy also, but where they are today. We have the Chinese, and now we are seeing a lot of the influx of the Spanish, the Venezuelan community, and they are building and growing in our country. Now, they choose because they have opportunities there for you to use it and to advance yourself in society. And when you have an entity that sort of like restrict you into a certain sphere of the thinking and the way you desire, to move forward. That is the only explanation I could give to like say equate that discussion as to
But
where the
you
African.
you know that that point you just made is very relevant because that is the case.
I'm telling you,
That is
yeah,
the
because
case. I'm very surprised that you said it because a lot of people like to pretend that that is not the case when in fact
no,
it's the facts.
no, because I have tried to understand, and the thing about it, there are same African people who do not follow that doctrine of that organization, and they are very very well established in society, and they reach to the highest level in our economic status. But then when you have a population, a big part of our population following that doctrine, and the first thing they use against to justify they failing that population is the race card. So when you generate that now and you start to have everybody chanting that and the feeling that out is because these people are privileged in some way or the other. And that is why we are down, which is the most misleading situation that the population needs to really wake up and understand that there are all the examples. But then again, making this type of sacrifices, it might be difficult for a lot of people to start, to change that concept and to move on forward. Because I could tell you about the sacrifices that we had to make as a community and where I came from and where I am today and all these kind of things. And even now, I'm making a lot of sacrifices for my kids to even be better than where I am today.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that's what, one other little point I want to make where a gentleman spoke about the Constitution. Now, I think it should be mandatory that at least at secondary school level, some part of our Constitution should be like given a priority in the school so we could have a basic knowledge of what is taking place. But before they start that, we have to fix so much in our Constitution that you cannot be teaching a misleading piece of document for a population and expect that population to grow and benefit. First to begin, our Constitution doesn't protect the population. It protects the legislator, the people who are sitting in the office. And one of the main issue about that is to see that privilege privilege that they have in Parliament, that they could come in Parliament and make any kind of allegation where the population sees somebody say, well, you corrupt and nothing is done there, no consequences. That is one of the things. The second other point is nowhere in the Constitution it mentions her. So our president is always referred to as he or his. So now we have a female president, and our Constitution refers to her as a he. Now in word of speech and thing, it could go down, it could be accepted. But the fact of the matter, this is the thinking of how prejudiced our Constitution is. So we need to fix certain things first and then get it right so that when we teach and we protect the citizen from the politicians and the people who make laws, that then you could feel empowered that a constitution is supposed to work for the citizen, not for the people in power. That you
Let
could
me ask you
make
something, Barakpo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you believe that this administration, the UNC, would make any moves to rectify any issues in the Constitution?
Well, some of the laws that the legislation they are passing right now, they ain't going directly to the Constitution to change it, but they are putting things in place that corrects a lot of the scenarios that, the Constitution have like interpretation of.
But
And that's another part.
when it's done in a manner like that, then we could have another administration come in and revoke those laws.
Well, yes, well, any law in the that pass in the parliament that is not in our constitution could be changed. Any law that we make in history could be changed. You just put it through the proper channel and you get the support it and you can revoke it and reverse it or make amendments to it.
So I'm
nothing is
preempting
written
now
in,
that you're going to answer my question.
yeah. So, and one other thing again with our constitution, you see when you have a document that have so much and but and if and all kind of thing, That so just so
And
many different interpretation that somebody could use it in this way against you, and another person could use it in another way for you. You understand?
Yeah, excellent. You still didn't
So,
answer my
gentlemen,
my question, eh?
well, I hope, because right
Excellent
now, with
answer.
all this bacchanal we're going on with the country and the governance,
Uh-huh.
I don't think they had time right now to focus on constitutional reform. But I know when things settle down and things, we might see it coming.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Have a good morning, gentlemen. Enjoy the
Same to you.
Emancipation Day. Take care. Yeah.
Very intelligent gentleman.
Oh, to answer that constitutional issue, I know that there are some low-hanging fruits that could be accomplished before the end of the 5 years. Let's go to the line. Good morning.
The word of the day.
Oh yes. Good morning.
Good morning to Mr. Smith
Yes.
and Mr. Smythe, wherever Andy is with the recovery. May God take care of him and he come back as usual. Hear my pattern. I don't live with no constitution. I don't live with no emancipation. I don't live with no Diwali, nothing. I just live a life. Because I realize all them things is a waste of time at the end of the day. Sobers just died just for this. One of the greatest cricketer. He gone. That's the end of it. Let me tell you something about this life. I don't read this Bible. And since I read in this Bible, I realize we just spinning top in mud. Because the life we want to have here will be taken away from we so easily. Or we will be taken away from it. People just have to understand this life. Live for God. Live to come back. Like how my Bible say, you have to repent for your sins, be baptized, and so on come back with Jesus. I ain't studying nothing again. Because since I small growing up, I in poverty. And I fight to come out. I really come out because I live in a better way still. But every day, I sit down and I look at this life. All that we're fighting for is a waste of time. All that we're going at is still a waste of time. Because the greatest men, with all the knowledge he have, all the wisdom he have, he'll be taken away from here one day. And somebody else had to come up. So we just have to just forget about these things and live for God.
Caller, I totally understand what you're trying to say. Well, not totally
Yeah.
understand. I partially understand what you're trying to say, but I disagree with you. And I'll tell you why.
Right, no problem.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I believe in legacy. And I understand that there is both physical and spiritual realm. And if your spirit and physical realm, because they often say that the body functions by the use of matter, which is tangible things that you can touch. Trying to live civil, trying to leave legacy. It means that all the knowledge and wisdom that you just spoke about, the task or the journey is to pass it on to your generations. You understand? Because we understand that we would not be here forever. So to say that we must just give up and live for Jesus, that is not, I don't think that is good advice. I think it's partially good advice because you want to honor the spiritual realm and you also live in the physical world. And you want to live good in the physical world and you want to pass on good and you want your generations to remember you in such a way. I'm almost sure that there are some things that you've done in your life that your children and your grandchildren would have say, Papa was the man who did this. And if you did bad, the community and the generations will remember that Papa was a bad man, you know, Papa do this. And some people may even say, thank God he gone. You understand what I'm saying?
I know all what you're saying, but that and all again, you know, wasted. I'm telling you that.
Yeah. And that's your that's your
No way.
position, and one respects that.
I want you to know that I respect your positions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, Lennox, we have to
yeah,
go
this
for
is the time.
This is the time. We're past the time.
Expand your vocabulary, sharpen your mind. It's the word of the day on Talk City 91.1 FM.
Don't be too.
I often try not to get into those kind of conversations.
But sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, people. Of course, this is the time when you give at least 2 words. See if I know it, and if I don't know it, meaning that the meanings, you would stay on the line just to make sure. And then these days, I see it has become fashionable to give a sentence on it as well.
So let's repeat. Right now, we're inside for the word of
the day. Word of the day, people. I know that the conversation very, very, very
sweet.
Yeah.
And we back to the conversation.
Enticing. Yes. But this is the word of the day, and we want to get that behind us.
Hello, welcome.
Yes.
We lost that one. That means that person was calling to get in on the
conversation.
So we're inside for the word of the day. We're taking 2 words.
Yeah, 2 words. 2 words. 2 words.
2 words, and of course.
2 words. Yes. Stay on the line. Of course. As I said, I will test my vocab, and then afterwards we move on. Yeah, it's part of what I consider to be the flexibility and the variety that we try to build into the program, so that people leave with a good feel at the end of the day. Good morning. Welcome.
Lennox, morning. Nigel, morning.
Good morning.
Let me just say this, right? Quickly.
You will have to give us a word if we allow you to say this quickly.
You have to do a word.
Yeah. We'll allow you to say what you want to say, but you have to give us a word.
A word, happiness.
Happiness?
Happiness.
All right.
Right, okay.
All right, now Lennox, what does happiness mean?
Well, of course, it simply means that good feel that this woman seemed to be exhibiting. She's so happy that she gave us a word one time.
All right, so you go ahead and say what you want to say.
Yes.
Right, so I just want to their caller, a guy just called and he was talking about the emancipation and all that stuff and schools and so forth. I think that look at when Diwali comes around, the Indian community gets together and they do all what they have to do. They go to each other's homes, they make sweets, they make the roti, they make different things. Because my mother is pure Indian, my father is pure Negro. So I'm in between of both of them. Which I have very great parents. They're deceased now, but they were great parents. And Diwali time will come, and I'm telling you, for how I was raised.
Yeah.
And Diwali time will come, and we will go by my aunts and my mother will make all kinds of different roti and different sweets, and I'll be like a little slave helping. Anyway, and when emancipation comes, my dad used to say it. He used to say the same thing I said. Emancipation come and his family will not get together like that. No. So you all have to change that.
Yeah.
You have to change that. You can't study. You study bandana, mohawk, serve doubles. You have a right to serve roti too. Because what you all need to do is get together as a community and start doing all things and bringing your African community together. I grew in this, I know. I grew between 2 parents, African and Indian. And I'm telling you, my father used to say it, right? And my father loved Indian people, and he was one of the most nicest, most gentle person I've ever come across as a man, right? And I remember growing up like that. Diwali, we will be by my aunt and listen, we're making all kind of things. And come emancipation, my father would say it. He would say, you see the same thing you're talking about? My family wouldn't even say, well, let's get together and do this and do that. Listen.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah, There's a lot people can learn from that kind of discourse, and maybe at the end of the day, people would realize that
But you
maybe they're doing
understand her point.
something wrong. Yeah,
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 I understand
yeah,
her
because
point.
there is this consciousness issue or lack of consciousness issue
Let's
that
take
has
another
to be
word. Let's take another
addressed.
word. Hi, welcome.
Yeah, my word is dichotomy.
Yeah, dichotomy, division.
Dichotomy.
Yeah, division, dichotomy.
Let me hear you.
Division, dichotomy, division. There is a dichotomy. What other word I could use to express my knowledge of it? There's a difference. All right, let me hear you. That's my interpretation.
You're sort of spot on. There is a total difference, a total separation.
Yeah, dichotomy. Yes.
Yeah, total difference. And I say this to respond to the last caller there. The dichotomy that she's speaking about a religious occasion as opposed to a historical occasion. When she compared Diwali to emancipation, if she had compared Diwali to shout at Baptist or something, some religious body like that, well, then it would have the statement would have made more sense. But some people say, why you always singing and singing and blaming and blaming this and blaming that for all for nothing. Yeah, but listen, we have so much to research about how everything in history affected us up to today.
Yeah. History is a great teacher.
Yes.
History is a great teacher.
Caller,
Caller, thank you. We trying to...
And I want to commend you for that nuance, sensitivity. Yeah, you're quite right. I too would have used what you suggested as a comparison.
I also want to say that we didn't miss the caller's point, the lady's point.
No. The coming together is critical.
I like how the
but you see,
last caller pulled it together.
But you see, the last caller would now have the sway simply because there are different degrees of coming together.
Yeah.
For Shouter Baptist, for example, you see activities all over the place. You see people coming together. You see people associating in their nook and cranny and so on. But it so therefore to say emancipation, which ought to be, but probably because of the nature of it, because one is religious as opposed to one that is mundane. But we could look at
Lennox, your word.
Yeah, well, it took us so. Hey,
you got two already. Your word.
We got two.
Yeah,
you sure?
You got happiness.
Because I've grown accustomed to hear a particular lady calling her. So, so I want to know. So I'm waiting on her. But since that is not the case, then I would want to use the word that is appropriate here now.
Looking for Miss Anbrong.
Yeah, Miss Anbrong, right? Emancipate is my word, of course. Free from, just in case the normal average person may not be aware, because it doesn't refer to slavery per se, but emancipate could be the freedom from anything, mental, physical, social situation.
Lennox, ask and you shall receive. Good morning.
She's here. You see, I talked long enough to prevent Snipes from changing and from cutting us off. Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Miss Anbrong.
A pleasant good morning and yes, recovery to you, Mr. Lennox and Director Snipes.
Good morning. Yes, go ahead.
The word of the day is whittle.
Wiggle? Wiggle? W-I-G-G-L-E?
Whittle. No, whittle.
Whittle. How spell that? Because that's sounding like a disease. Whittle, you know the whittle? You just have the swelling on your
that's whitlow.
Whitlow. Well, it sounds like it.
It's a verb.
Yeah.
It's W-H-I-T-T-L-E.
Oh, whittle. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think to small pieces cut small pieces kind of thing? Guys,
Yes,
what do you mean?
carved
Yes.
or shaped thin bits of wood.
Right, good. Bits, right, good. Okay, small bits here of wood. Give me the sentence. Give me the sentence. You know, we look
Yes.
forward to that all
My
the time.
uncle sat on the porch to whittle a small bird figure from his cedar block.
Yes, cut
Happy
cuts.
Emancipation
Yes.
Day, all, and I'm waiting to win my tickets. Yesterday I couldn't get in.
Boy, we have it again today, my friend. Good, right. So just be on the phone first. That's all.
Yes.
Incidentally,
Thank you.
yeah. Incidentally, the person who won yesterday, he said he would want to give it to the person who said sobers. So the person who said sobers yesterday, as the 1975, I believe, World Cup champ, carrying the West Indies to the championship position of that particular World Cup. You are the one that he suggests get that ticket. All right. So if you can call back today, and probably we could give Snipes your information. So just that is by way of information. I got that last night. He called me feverishly last night. So okay. The words of today. The words of, well, did I give my word? Yeah, I said emancipate. Well, of course, dichotomy. What's the word that the lady gave? Friendly. Happy, right? Happy, and of course whittle, which means, of course, cut in little pieces in order to achieve some kind of physical objective. All right, so we go for the break, and when we come back, no, straight to the news. Sorry about that. I wasn't aware that we reached the news already.
The back to school season is here, and Michael Muhammad's bookstore is ready to help you get your children prepared for the new school term. We're excited to welcome you to our 2 new locations: Kane Street, Vistabella, conveniently located next to the Vistabella Presbyterian Primary School; Debe, next to Modern Electrical, in collaboration with Muhammad's Bookstore 1988 Limited. Of course, you can still visit our long-standing location on Point-a-Pear Road, San Fernando, for all your school supplies, textbooks, stationery, backpacks, and much more. This back to school season, make shopping easy at Michael Muhammad's bookstore. Visit our new locations in Vistabella and Debe, or our San Fernando branch.
Good morning. This is your TDT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. Finance Minister Devendranath Tanku says there is no change to the tax concessions available on qualifying hybrid vehicles, despite concerns raised following a recent Customs and Excise classification ruling. The concern arose after Customs issued General Order No. 24 of 2026, which clarified how certain mild hybrid vehicles should be classified for customs purposes. Some reports and social media commentary suggested that this new classification could affect the tax benefits currently enjoyed by hybrid vehicles. After meeting with the Trinidad and Tobago Automotive Dealers Association, the minister stated that the classification ruling is correct and consistent with international customs standards established by the World Customs Organization. However, he emphasized that the ruling does not remove, reduce, or change the customs duty relief provided under Legal Notice number 247 of 2024. As a result, any new or used private hybrid vehicle that meets the requirements of that legal notice will continue to receive the existing customs duty concessions. Minister Tanku also said that neither the Customs and Excise Division nor the Ministry of Finance ever indicated that the 2024 legal notice had been revoked or replaced. The minister criticized the spread of unverified information, noting that inaccurate reporting and social media speculation created unnecessary concern among dealers and consumers. In other news, CARICHAM, the network of Caribbean Chambers of Commerce, has elected former Trinidad and Tobago Chamber President Kiran Maharaj as its new chairperson during its annual general meeting held on July 9, 2026. Joining her in the executive are Vice Chairs Vanessa Victorin of the Martinique Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Gino Nardine of the Suriname Chamber of Commerce. Representing more than 100,000 businesses through 24 business support organizations across the Caribbean, CARICHAM plays a key role in advancing regional trade and private sector development. Marad says her tenure will focus on strengthening trade facilitation, advocacy, knowledge sharing, and disaster risk reduction, while building resilience and creating new business opportunities throughout the region. 18 exceptional students are being honored for their academic achievement through the Chinese Ambassador Scholarship, a prestigious initiative that recognizes excellence while fostering stronger educational and cultural ties between Trinidad and Tobago and China. Chinese Ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago, Ren Hongyan, said the program reflects both countries' shared commitment to investing in young people.
The future belongs to the younger generation, and empowering youth through education means investing in the long-term development of both nations. This is precisely the philosophy behind the establishment of the Chinese Ambassador Scholarship for young students in Trinidad and Tobago. Dear students, receiving this scholarship is both an honor and a responsibility. It recognizes your hard work and determination and encourages you to continue striving for excellence.
The ambassador encouraged the recipients to view the award as recognition of their hard work and a responsibility to continue pursuing excellence.
Your generation will shape the future of Trinidad and Tobago. Whether you grow into teachers, doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs, artists, public servants, or professional in any other fields, your knowledge and the characters will contribute to the modernization and the sustainable development of this beautiful nation.
In sport, CONCACAF, football's governing body for North, Central America and the Caribbean, has rejected FIFA's proposal to sell stakes in the World Cup to private investors. All 41 member associations met Thursday, with many expressing frustration and a loss of confidence in FIFA President Gianni Infantino. In a statement, CONCACAF cited deep concerns over the lack of due process, the short deadline, and the absence of review by FIFA's governance bodies. The group also questioned the need for private funding after the most profitable World Cup in FIFA history. The move follows UEFA's announcement that all 55 European members would boycott FIFA competitions over the plan. FIFA is seeking to sell up to 21% of a new commercial entity, aiming to raise an estimated $4.2 billion. Infantino has insisted the plan is not an obligation and would require majority approval from member nations. And that was your TDC News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. On behalf of our entire team, have a great day.
Attention parents and guardians, the back-to-school season is here and Michael Muhammad's bookstore is ready to help you get your children prepared for the new school term. We're excited to welcome you to our two new locations, Kane Street, Vistabella, conveniently located next to the Vistabella Presbyterian Primary School, Debe, next to Modern Electrical, in collaboration with Muhammad's Bookstore 1988 Limited. Of course, you can still visit our long-standing location on Point-a-Pear Road, San Fernando, for all your school supplies, textbooks, stationery, backpacks, and much more. This back-to-school season, make shopping easy at Michael Muhammad's Bookstore. Visit our new locations in Vistabella and Debe, or our San Fernando branch, and find everything you need under one roof. Michael Muhammad's Bookstore, helping students start the school year right.
If it matters to you, it matters to us. We report the news, real stories in real time. TTT News, nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Stamina Energy, rise to the occasion.
Energy starts here. Yo, stamina energy is the what I'm gonna energy is the what I'm gonna energy is the truth to keep me pumping, busy. To keep me moving, to keep me grooving, to keep me pumping. All night and day, energy rise. So go all night. It's stamina energy that give me life.
Stamina Energy, rise to the occasion. Available now in strawberry lemonade. Only 5 calories. Pure energy.
From the road to the radio. Talk City 91.1.
Hair tells a story. It reflects heritage, identity, creativity, and pride.
In celebration of African Emancipation Day 2026, the Ministry of Culture and Community Development proudly presents Taji Ya Africa, Crown of Africa, a hairstyling competition honoring African beauty, culture, and self-expression. Whether you're an experienced professional or an emerging creative, if you're a loctician, braider, or natural hairstylist, this competition is your opportunity to celebrate African culture through your artistry. Create a stunning African-style hairstyle, submit a portrait video of no more than 90 seconds, and you could win a professional photo shoot, logo design, and much more. The competition runs from July 8th to July 31st, 2026. Your future is here. Enter today and wear your crown with pride.
For eligibility requirements and submission details, visit the Ministry of Culture and Community Development's official social media platforms.
This was a production of the Information Division, Office of the Prime Minister.
You can listen on Talk City 91.1 FM and stay connected on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, wherever you are.
You're listening to Talk City 91.1 FM's Emancipation Day feature.
Freedom is one of humanity's most treasured values. Emancipation Day reminds us that freedom was hard, won through sacrifice, courage, and determination. As we honor the legacy of those who fought for liberation, we are also called to use our freedoms responsibly, building stronger communities, promoting respect and understanding, pursuing education, and standing against injustice are all ways we can honor the spirit of emancipation. This Emancipation Day, let us celebrate not only freedom achieved, but also the responsibility we share to ensure that future generations continue to enjoy the rights and opportunities that so many struggle to secure.
This Emancipation Day feature was brought to you by Talk City 91.1 FM, the heartbeat of the nation.
We were born to rise again. Rise again. Nothing holds us down again.
But Johnny, how come your house is twice the size of mine, but my bill is twice the cost of yours? Johnny, what going on, boy? How your bill so low? How your bill so low? I conserving energy, I switch your LED, at the stun of the AC, and I saving real money. It's our responsibility for a brighter TNT. Cut the waste and you would see. Why everybody asking me? They asking how you been so low? How you been so low? TN Tech, powering the nation into the next generation.
At the Barak Down Foundation, we're committed to empowering lives through Islamic education, practical skills training, academic support, and compassionate community service. Our Islamic programs for all age groups include fiqh, tafsir, tajweed, Islamic studies level 1 to 3, and Qori and Hifz classes for both males and females. Build valuable life skills with our vocational courses in electrical installation, plumbing, welding, sewing, and cakes and pastries. Students can also benefit from our SCA, CSEC, and remedial classes designed to support academic success. Our commitment extends beyond the classroom through community outreach initiatives such as hamper drives, feeding the needy, housing and medical assistance, street dawah, hospital visits, and free counseling services for all ages. So whether you're seeking knowledge, learning a trade, excelling academically, or looking for support, the Barak Down Foundation is here for you, serving the Creator for the common good.
Before the sun, before the road, the talk starts here. Talk City 91.1.
This is Destra, and you're listening to the Ground Report on Talk City. Keep it locked!
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Welcome back. Of course, just about 14 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. Yes, time always seems to fly. I don't know why. But that being as it may, we have a number of questions that were put to us here in studio by you, the callers, and you have asked to see whether or not we can respond. And every time we attempt to respond, we are always incomplete because an intervention would have come. Not that we don't want the intervention. Yes, this is an interactive program, and we will give way, of course, to you when you make your intervention. So I want to say that categorically.
Have you ever had the opportunity to read the chat while the show is going on?
No, I don't.
Let me tell you something. It's an entire world going on in the back there.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't interfere.
Good morning to the people in the chat. There's an entire world going on in the chat.
Yes,
it's very amusing and sometimes very abusive and sometimes very kicksy.
Yeah.
I know. Because the answers, sometimes someone may put something and they get an answer almost immediately.
It happens. Yeah, it is. It's the bantering. It's the
banter sometimes not radio friendly. But it's very entertaining.
Andy loves that. Andy would be attracted to that.
If you're listening and you have the opportunity, please go to YouTube and subscribe so that you can be a part of the chat.
Yes.
And you can be a part of some of the things that we can't say in the air.
Yeah. You public. Well, you shouldn't, but if you are so desired, then of course go right ahead, because that is an option that you have. But we would prefer, of course, you do it with dignity and pride, and of course, there's a certain amount of making sure that it is amenable.
Tongue lashing sharing inside.
Yeah, I could well imagine. Between them or among themselves.
Yes, right.
John, you so and so and so. And you say, that's not me, and so and so. Yeah, I've had my share. It is very interesting, people, that we look at the statement of the Prime Minister on the occasion of tomorrow's event, that is Emancipation Day, and I think just about 3 sentences will sort of consummate and consume my attention in terms of where we are as a people, and of course where the government is in terms of moving forward. So let me just read it. I prefer to read this piece for you. Just about 3 short sentences. It is referring, of course, to the Prime Minister Prasad Bisesa. Used the occasion to argue that African Emancipation Day is not only a commemoration of the abolition of slavery, but also a reminder to reject, let me repeat, to reject the chains of prejudice, hatred, ignorance, and fear. Oh, what beautiful music to my ears, at least, and it should be to yours as well. You reject the chains and bring in something that is palpable, tangible, tactile to that is abstract. I love how this is phrased. And she says in uncertain terms, referring to the chains of prejudice, hatred, ignorance, and fear must not be part and parcel, in other words, of this whole process of emancipation and the abolition of slavery. Is not just only that. Get rid of the chains of prejudice, hatred, ignorance, and fear. You will forgive me if I keep repeating it, but I think it is significant. If you didn't hear anything or didn't take away anything from this program, take away these words. To reject the chains, yes, of prejudice, hatred, ignorance, and fear. She said words have the power to either wound or heal, and warned that racial division weakens the nation. Racial division weakens the nation. And words have the power to wound or heal, to endanger people or to bring them together and heal them. They can divide a nation or unite one, she said, adding that Trinidad and Tobago has always been at its strongest when its people have chosen one another over division. Wow. Trinidad and Tobago has always been strongest. And one time, it puts me in the arena when our team was preparing to go to the World Cup for the first time. It reminds me of Carnival time. That is what this does. We are at our strongest when we choose to have one. Yes, choose to have, and we choose one another over division. And finally, as Prime Minister, I will always serve every citizen equally, because this office, meaning the office of Prime Minister, belongs to every citizen, unquote. Wonderful, wonderful on this emancipation pre-day, or the penultimate before emancipation tomorrow. Love it, love it, love it. I cannot overemphasize that it must remind you to reject the chains of prejudice, hatred, ignorance, and fear. People, of course, the lines are open. We are back to square one, so to speak, where you would make your contributions, your interventions, and what we will do is, of course, accommodate. That is what we are all about. 622-4911, 622-4911, 394-4911. And I think we have a line that is only dedicated to voicemails. Oh, and do we have any? Maybe we could take some now.
394-4911. You can send your voice notes.
Oh, that one, right.
394-4911.
Okay, right. So we have any that we could look at now?
Not present.
Voicemails? All right, okay. Maybe you don't know what the number is for
normally
voicemail.
the voice notes would go to
Andy, and Andy will then say it. Okay.
So today you're going to have to send your voice notes
Directly here.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So again, those of you who have voice notes, I know that there are, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. The number you should deposit your voice note at or in would be 394-4911. Take note. Let me give you a chance to get a little pencil. 394-4911. That's the voice note number that you can deposit your voice notes in. All right? That being as it may,
the lines are
open. Right.
The lines
so
are definitely open.
quite a number of issues was posed to us. I was at the point when I was speaking about Dr. Rowley and his foray into Laventille, and the perception was motivating the African community in and around to be ambitious. But then there was an anticlimax when he really was advocating, because that was in the public space at that time, and use it, of course, to sort of settle the matter as far as his involvement with his good friend Warner. And of course, he said that Warner should be able to come into Trinidad. Well, of course, the rest of it in terms of history is well known. Warner got certain privileges, land, quarrying, etc. And we see that part of which, of course, is in the criminal court system as we speak. So I'm not going to go there, except to say that that was not what one would have expected. One would have expected a genuine attempt to say, African community, listen, you have the capacity, the acumen, just as everybody else, to get there, and my government will facilitate and will be the motivator to have you achieve or acquire your ambition. That was not said. That was not said, unfortunately. And so, of course, we have to see that as more pie in the sky, exercise in futility. But there was a caller that talked about mediocrity, and that is where I would want to go in terms of response. Mediocrity, the institutionalization of mediocrity. And that is my term, but I don't think it is far from what he was talking about, because here it is in the academic field. He is correct. there was a time when we were told that, listen, the other group, or the other major group, I should say, falsify their papers and so on and get into university, etc. And I always wondered, why would someone say that? And obviously, the callers this morning found out and they therefore shared it with us. And that is to create a scenario where a particular group remain a voter bank. That's the term that was used. It is clear, a voter bank. The African community for the PNM should be and must be a voter bank for them and nothing else. Keep them in office. And the question of mediocrity comes in when those who are favored, prefer, and rather not going through the system castigate and criticize the others, saying that they falsified their papers and therefore suggesting that you don't have to work hard because it's waste of time, because the others, because of their money and their connection and their links, enter the university and you will not be. That in itself is a motivation, is a demotivation. How could you say that to a community that is obviously struggling, that you have said are in fact struggling and at the lowest rung of the opportunity ladder, when in terms of taking the opportunities that are available, when you yourself would have been part and parcel of an institution that ought to have facilitated as government, the entire apparatus of state ought to have been directed to make certain that that which on which you depend for your political survivability, you make certain that they are all right and therefore can live a quality of life and standard of living aspired by most of us or all of us in the country. So there we are. The lines are open.
I want to take you to
some voicemails. All right, let's go to the voicemails.
Morning, everybody here. So I want to talk Emancipation Day, which is tomorrow, August the 1st, and about slavery in general, because nobody knows when slavery began. But I can tell you when it ended and where it ended. Slavery is a feature of civilization, basically. Every civilization did it. That had the ability to do it, would have done it. Across every continent, across time, thousands of years. Okay? This was a feature of civilization. But I can tell, so nobody knows when it began, but I can tell you when it ended and where. Ended in 1834, August the 1st, and the place was the British Parliament, right? This is the power of Parliament. Britain at the height of its power, after being involved in this slave trade, certainly participating for a couple hundred years, it is the British people using the power of Parliament that ended slavery. Okay, and this is not taught in our schools. We treat emancipation like if it is a Trini thing. In a way, it kind of is. You know why? Because Trinidad and Tobago was the first country in the world to commemorate that British law by having a national holiday around it. I think we did that in 1984. All right? However, the point is, it is not taught really in schools that it is the British that ended slavery across this world in 1834. They began the process in 1807 by ending the trade of slaves across oceans and wherever else, and used their navy in particular to force everybody else, because Britain was at the height of its power, and they used their navy and expended a lot of capital, a lot of money, 2% of GDP every year, and a couple thousand sailors dying to stop the trade of slaves and to force everybody else to stop trading in slaves. Go Google, people, the Battle of Zanzibar is the world's shortest battle. That's an example of what the British did to end slavery. Okay? So we need to include this more, and I'll tell you why. Too often, and it's showing up today in the hottest topic on the news, too often we are still divided along racial lines. You know, because there's this impression out there about who was an oppressor and who was oppressed. Everyone enslaved everyone who had the ability to. You want to know who enslaved and oppressed Africans more than anybody else? Look at the Arabs. Go Google the Zanj rebellion. Right? Don't believe me. This happened in the year 860 something. Right? And the Arabs were enslaving Africans 200-300 years before that. Right? And again, so that's that trade that was running for that long. The only people who ended it were the British people and the British Parliament, and they put their money where their mouth was. Right? That is the power of Parliament. I'll go into our next one, continuing this.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Of course. That's it. I thought we would have had more.
We have two more.
But we have a call?
Same nobody, but we have a call.
All right, okay. Go ahead, call.
Give way to the call.
Go ahead, caller. Yeah, we give way to
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning.
So I just want to say this. There is a nexus between post-1956 in Trinidad and the emancipation movement, as well as the topic about constitutional reform. Lennox, I'm sure you'd agree that the gentlemen, the businessmen, the movers and shakers of our Trinidad society in the early stages before 1956 had a different concept about black identity and black stamping the black and I'm not saying African, I'm saying black. Okay. Black impression on society and the future of Trinidad today. That is a whole discussion by itself. I know you're educated enough to understand that. And it changed in 1956 and subsequent 1962 coming down the road. How does that form a nexus between our present situation and the Constitution? The gentleman you all were listening to just now there, made a point that the British Parliament made a determination to abolish slavery. Why? Because they were sufficiently educated to understand that this could not be economically viable, and it guised itself as some noble attempt. It was about economics and money. But the point I'm making is the population was sufficiently educated to make that decision. And it's the same point I'm making. If we want constitutional reform and to have the constitution adjusted so that there's an equal share of the pie for everybody and all the institutions functioning, etc., 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 then we have to have an educated public that will demand that. The constitutional change doesn't come from UNC government deciding to up and change the government, It's you and I, the masses, who demand certain things. Example of the current situation that is happening in the courts right now. The Prime Minister recognized that what was handed to them as law, which they used, is flawed. And she said we're going to revisit it and see where it needs to be tweaked, etc., etc. Why? Because one person rose up and said, look, let's examine this. And it's the same point. If you multiply that across all the schools and all these teaching institutions in Trinidad and get the population educated enough to understand that what we have been given 1956, 1962 and beyond, 1974 and so on, is simply a watered-down version of what it could be. And everything is progression. The only thing that is constant is change. And so the Constitution must be changed in order to meet the requirements of daily living and also to affect the education system and its curriculum as to whether the curriculum is designed to prepare our children for the true future of Trinidad and the world. Studying literature and all of that now might be good, but can that prepare our children for the real future? So that's what I'm saying. There's a nexus between this whole emancipation thing, education, reform of the Constitution, and Trinidad movement.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think what he did was obliquely refer to the mediocrity. I was at the nascent stage of my response to the concern that the African community has not done as well as one would have liked. And incidentally, of course, we are talking here, just to follow up on Mr. Nobody's intervention, of course, we're talking about the slavery as far as the British Empire is concerned, but of course the French as well would have been in the Caribbean, the Portuguese as well, and therefore they would have discontinue that particular practice at a later time from the history that I know. But in general, the European continent recognized that was no longer, as the last caller rightly said, an economically viable entity, quite apart from the human rights and other should I say, developments that would have been taking place in terms of the evolution. Even right here, of course, in the Western Hemisphere, or the New World at the time, as it was called, the developments in the United States and its own fight for independence. Yes, we lost that one. Yeah. So all of that is part and parcel of the process. So it's a very deep conversation. But I like where it is going. But I cannot overemphasize the institutionalization of mediocrity, and that would have taken different forms. We have a call. Let's go on the line. President, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, Lennox. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Mr. Sniper.
Hey, good morning to you as well.
Yeah, Lennox.
Yes.
To me, slavery just moved the chain. They just moved from the way how they used to deal in the slavery. But to me, mental slavery exists in us. Because really and truly, if you look around, as black people try to uplift themselves or try to educate themselves and the people, they get rid of them. Because look at what's going on right now with Torah in Africa. They don't show we that kind of development. They don't show we that kind of upliftment and progress for we to get a dream in the Caribbean and all over the place. Maurice Bishop, Bob Marley, check it out. So with slavery really gone. But don't forget it. Mr. Lennox,
yes.
We have to organize something quicker.
Yes, I agree.
Right,
this
really
week,
and
this
truly,
week coming
when
up.
you watch on the TV in Trinidad, you're seeing about 90 different Indian channels keeping the culture, keeping the music, keeping everything. Show me one where we have a good day.
I hear you, my friend. Well, of course, I'm sure you wouldn't put the ground report in that category. That being as it may, yes. So the whole question of mediocrity has manifested itself in different forms. And we saw in more contemporary times, the last administration, when they said, well, listen, do not publish the results of the C exam. And that was for a specific reason. And the other form that we saw it took was when they reduced the 400 open scholarships. Open is the operating word. Open scholarship, competitive scholarships. So you get the best of the lot. And they took out, I think, half of that and put it into a ministry and say that you're going to disperse that as bursaries for the same reason. But obviously, it was part and parcel of that process of promoting and sustaining mediocrity, because the beneficiaries of those bursaries, when you look at it, as was the case when the matter was brought before the Equal Opportunities Commission in a prior administration under the Patrick Manning PNM administration, we saw that they concluded, the Equal Opportunities Commission concluded that it was there to satisfy and to facilitate PNM-oriented supporters, etc., who would be sent to the universities by way of these bursaries. They don't necessarily have to have honors, but when they come back, their jobs are guaranteed, and they end up in the public service system to administer the development of the country. And we have seen too many instances, one of which I remember very distinctly, when Marlene MacDonald was part and parcel of the administration then, and Coffey's, I believe, his wife was the permanent secretary, and there was this arrangement that got Marlene MacDonald into all kinds of problem, legal and criminal. So we have the evidence where you have an organization that has morphed into what I consider to be a perfidious or a betrayal entity of that which and on which they depend to stay in office. But thank God, incrementally, not sufficient in terms of alacrity, with speed, in other words, not sufficient with the speed that we would like, to make certain that they never again find their way into the areas where they are supposed to influence the development of the country and the advancement, and then have this myopic approach to development and not as open as possible. And it is unfortunate that the African community has fallen victim to that kind. I remember very distinctly, and I think this will sort of epitomize my concern, and concerns that all Africans must have. I remember in the 1991 general elections campaign, when the whole question of the dragon and the Red House was invented by, unfortunately, utilizing the Baptist community in that conspiracy, but because there was no such situation. But let's go to the line. President, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Old Sage.
Good morning.
I'm listening to you this morning. Oh, and your company also.
yes, Snipes. Yes.
Listen, I'm listening to you, and I'm wondering if you are concluding that there is some academic or intellectual deficiency in the African individual, and therefore it is dangerous to have him within the halls of power responsible for our advancement and promotion. Is that what you're
No, I'm saying no such thing. I'm saying,
well, I want to be clear.
Yeah. I'm saying, however, there has been an entity at the helm of our decision-making processes and access to the resources of the country that has promoted that. That's the point I'm making.
Well, I want to say this to you.
Yes.
The individual in this country who is African, he is virtually invisible or perhaps vanilla where employment is concerned in this country. He is not employed by the persons who can employ him. They choose to employ who they feel to employ. And because of that, the African has suffered severe economic stress. They are household without breadwinners. This redounds to the quality of life being seriously eroded, and the individual's ability to put themselves forward, to show their academic prowess and their intellect is stymied. So you see, we have to fix the economics, Lennox. Let me just tell you something that is going to happen, that it must happen when Penny come back in office. When you see right now the state gives out a contract, they give it out to a rich fat cap, UNC. And when they give it out to him, he decides that he's going to employ who he chooses to employ. So Errol, John, Francis, and Barris, who live behind the bridge, are not on his list. And he chooses to employ who he wants to employ. Then those four fellas decide that they would need to participate in the economy in a different kind of way. Then the police have to hold them. Then we have to pay court prosecutor. We have to feed them in prison. And then we have to feed their children too. So you see, that type of cycle must stop. We must ensure that there is universal, equitable participation in the economy. The state must stop giving out contracts to big fat cats to do what they want with it. The state must start to do most of those contracts themselves and employ people universally regardless of their hue. Because once you take the African man out of the economy, everything else falls down like a pack of cards, a house of cards. So these are things that we have to attend to. And we need to attend to these things because I would tell you this, whatever exists within the mind of every human being exists equally in the mind of the African. I just want to let you know that, Lennox. Have a nice morning.
Thank you very much. And it was.
What do you mean by when?
No. Well, it was pellucid. It was conspicuous that his contradictions, because I mean, he said when Penny comes back into office, but Penny is part of that that entity in a very, at the highest level, that caused the arguments that he advanced for the sort of renaissance of the African community. And I don't know whether or not that is possible if you are a participant in the degradation of that group of individuals. But let me continue with where I left off before that interjection, unless we have a call. Good morning, welcome.
Gentlemen, morning, emancipation greetings to you.
Same to you.
Right, so after all is said and done about emancipation, which party reflects on the African people, I believe NJAC has done tremendous work in trying to enlighten the African people where the African people stand. The only obstacle they had in front of them is the same party that Ms. Penny belongs to. And you could go back to the 70s when we had all problems with that same party. Okay? So I don't know what Mr.
Caller, can I engage you? I just want to ask this question. I'm not being malicious, but I know NJAC would have played a significant role. Could you give me a short timeline? A short timeline of when that would have stopped?
They have always been suppressed by the ruling party. They were never recognized by the ruling party. And then the UNC brought them into government, and you remember the film that they called them, okay?
Yeah.
For all these years, up to last night, I went to the Emancipation Village, and I saw Kasha with Mr. Cambon there, and the same remnants of the NJAC party still flying the flag.
Yeah.
Do you understand me? So when you're speaking about we will get there one day and this kind of stuff, we all had enough opportunity to help your own people. So what are we waiting on again? Another 20 years of the same behavior? Come on.
And that's what I wanted to get.
Yes.
That's what I wanted. Thank you.
And I recognize, and I want to commend you not only for bringing the NJAC into the discussion because of the consciousness that they would have imbued into the psyche of the African community as to where they are, where they could be, etc. But at the same time, really addressing the previous caller as to the contradictory position that he would have taken. You cannot say in the same breath, and one cannot be exclusive from the other, that Penny comes back, talk about the degradation, if you want, of the African community under a PNM dominance for so many years of the commanding heights and decision making in this country, and then be serious. No one can take you serious.
Because again, Lennox, and one of our callers said it best, history is the greatest teacher. And Trinidad and Tobago must use the history to both learn and whip.
Yeah. And therefore those revisionists must be placed where they ought to be placed, because the guy was in fact attempting to amend history when in fact it cannot, because history is history, is a fact, is a stubborn truth that cannot disappear.
So what? Forget about what you do me?
Yeah, that is what he's trying to say. Yeah, and then somehow not telling us who is responsible for the decadence and the deterioration and the retrogression and the oppression, if you want to call that, of the African community.
Lennox, you tell me Snipes come and visit me on George Street, and I say, Lennox, you sure everything good up there? You say, yes man, don't worry. While I was coming, could you go up or down George Street? Up or down?
Up north.
While I'm coming up north George Street, my car went into a massive pothole and mashed up the shocks. I made it to your house, and you say, oh good, I forget to tell you about that pothole day. And I say, Lennox, well, you have the means to fix that pothole. And you say, oh yeah, don't worry, I'll get it soon. soon in the near future I will get to it, because you see what I do to your car there, and we can't have that happening. And then your birthday come around the next year, and you said, you visited me? And I say, yeah, I'll visit you. You say, all right, come up the road, and I'm coming up the road, and I go in the pothole again, because you promised me that one day, you promised me that in the near future you go fix that pothole and it mash up my car again. You understand?
And the cycle continues.
And the
That's all.
cycle continues. I'm never coming back by you, Lennox.
You see me smiling there. You see me smiling there. I use a different, but I suppose the moral of the story is the same. I use that analogy by saying, I'll leave you with my house. I'll go on away, and of course you promise to take care of it, maintain it, etc. When I reach back, the doors out, the toilet facility gone, the entire thing, the roof gone, etc. And then you come and tell me, well, listen, don't dig nothing. Give me another opportunity to
Yeah, don't get no
leave me
hurt.
with it. Leave me with
Don't
it.
get no hurt. I know
Yeah.
how to do
No. It means therefore you know that you have, of course, worked your way to not being considered.
Lennox, let's take
we,
one.
we have a feature.
Let's take one call and we go to the two features.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning to the honorable political leader of Raspberry Rocket, Mr. Snipes and William Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox, you know, I always say it's time for you to get on board. You understand? Because what the topic there by you and the program of the ground report and other residents calling. We know that once your leadership gets into office, things like those emancipation issues, where mental slavery and people living in slavery days, all these kind of things, will be addressed. We know it's your time now. Your time is coming, Lord, my brother, for you to hold a ministry, hold an office, to deliver good service to the people, happy emancipation to you and my brother. And I listened to you promptly last night on the corridor of transformation.
Yes.
Blessings again. Have a blessed weekend, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Richard. Of course, that's an endorsement and a reposing of your confidence. Thanks very much. We have a call, or we go to the feature?
Let's take the call.
Let's take the call. Pleasant, good morning. Welcome.
Pleasant morning.
Yes, good morning.
I just wanted to say thanks for touching on this topic. I listened to a few callers as well. I listened to all the contribution of the panel as well. All right. As a young person, it is encouraging. However, just to just quickly summarize and put some things in focus, Paula, who spoke about the economic aspect of the abolition of slavery, historically he's on point. It was more of an economic move. Also, and it benefited the slave master as well, because reparations are still an issue today.
Yeah.
So the slave master received payments to abolish slavery. Right? And moving forward to the gentleman who spoke about the mental change being on the form of the enslaved, or should I say the form. The offspring of the generations of the enslaved, we still have to deal with these things on a granular level. When slavery did take place, major issues like the making of a slave, the willingness, as we go in historically, for contribution, major contributors to why people think the way they think, especially now I'm Afro. So in our demographic, that's one of the major issues. And to just come home, we have had leadership, our full leadership, like the ones you were mentioning from that particular entity that has ample time to treat with this thing in a very serious way, developing a roadmap as to how to move past these issues. And I too went to the African Emancipation Village and was very disappointed to see that it is more of a shell of what we could truly achieve, as opposed to something being transformative and actually impactful to the Afro community from that granular level. We need to build it from the family unit all the way back up. But all is not lost. My personal faith, we love each other. I still love my black people, I love black culture. And I believe that it's not a one day it will change, but we need to take that approach seriously through a roadmap to rebuild our history. Thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful, my friend. As a young man, I want to really commend you for that intervention. We have to go to for that future.
Right now is give away that ticket.
All right, good. Cricket ticket giveaway. Cricket ticket giveaway. This is the future, and of course, we have that numbers
Question number 10, Lennox.
Yes,
You will
that's
take
what.
the answer.
This one, question number 10. All right, question. Who is the what?
Leading.
There's a CD or the leading, right?
Yeah,
leading test run scorer for the West Indies. Who is the leading test run scorer for the West Indies?
Very
Who is that
simple.
person? Very simple.
If you
Very
can
simple.
answer that.
Sure. Miss, what's, I always forget the name. Miss Anne Brown. I hope you get on the phone as quickly as possible, at least before the others. Yes, indeed. Of course, the lines are open. The numbers to call. Let me give them to you again. 6224911, 6224911. And the other one, well, 3944911. That's a WhatsApp where you can leave your voice notes as well.
If you won already, you cannot win again.
Again, right. So I have put to the panel the caller that won yesterday. He said to give it to the person who called in and say Sobers, because the answer was Clive Lloyd. Right, so the person who said Sobers yesterday, if you call us, we will see what we can do in terms of that.
Hello,
because
welcome.
he has
The
it.
names already going up, though.
Yes, good. Oh, it's going up already. All right, good morning. Good morning. What's the answer?
I lost that one. Let's go again. Hello, welcome.
Who is the leading test run scorer for the West Indies? Who? Chandra Paul? That is not what we have here. So, thank you. Let's get another one.
You know, the next caller, I'm going to get it. The next caller is going to get it because it's obvious. Hello, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
I was hoping that sounded like Miss Anne Brown, but go ahead.
I am not a female, so.
Okay, yes.
I think the answer is Shai Hope.
Who?
Shai Hope.
For the West Indies,
For the West Indies, I talk about that.
For the West Indies test.
Yeah. Who?
Most test runs you're talking about?
No. I'm saying the most test run scorer for the West Indies.
Shai Hope.
That's not what we have.
Okay.
All right. Yes. Come on, people. I didn't want to give a clue because the clue is so obvious. You know, yeah? Who's the leading?
I am the leading test cricket scorer.
Yeah, run scorer, yes.
Brian Lara.
Brian who?
Lara.
That's right. That is what we have here, at least. Right?
He was 5 for 1 and 375.
If what?
He made 375 runs and 5 for 1.
Yes, right. He broke record after record.
So,
yes, so from Sobers going
let me
back.
take your information.
Yes, so stay on the line. And Snipes will take your information, and the tickets are yours. All right. Right, people. So maybe I get a chance in the meantime to conclude my mediocrity. Should I say? I wouldn't say theory. It's not a theory, but very, very pragmatic and real, historical. But I think I will be doing a disservice if I say it's a theory suggesting that it's something that is abstract. It's something that is an experience. And the manifestation of it, as I said, one, attempting to hoodwink or gaslight the African community that somehow others are faking their certificates. I talked about the fact that here it is, you reduce open scholarships 400 to and take that difference and put it into a bursary system to facilitate party hacks and party connected individuals. In the main, there may be exceptions. I'm not saying no, but that could only be the intent, having regard to the fact that a more superior contest will certainly be one of an open scholarship nature. And you're attempting, of course, to influence the outcome in your own interest when you would have reduced that. So let us not fool ourselves at all. And then, in recent times, not only was there an attempt to stymie or silence or render clandestine those who would have done well at the sea level, because the names, first 100 or so, would it be maybe people like Mohammed and the Shatnarain, etc., and an attempt to blindside the African community and to promote an illusion so as to make sure that that vote bank remains intact. You decided to blank out that piece of information. And the logic has to be that if another group is doing well, at the sea level, don't you expect them to do well at the secondary level? And don't you expect them to be the ones to enter the tertiary system in terms of the university? Obviously. But the attempt to blindside the African community in their effort to stay in political favor is a total and absolute disservice to the national community and to that community. I want to say this, that in the 60s and the early 70s, the best doctor, the best lawyer would have been someone from the African stock.
I hope you're landing the plane.
More than that. Yeah. No. You say when, man. I could talk until next year.
Well, before we go, I just want to give the capiche from yesterday.
Oh yes. Quickly, we 9 o'clock already.
And we close off on.
Yeah. People, of course, we'll finish this next week Monday.
So yesterday, our callers gave us 3 carriage, 23 house, 25 Morocco, and 2 old lady. Andy's capiche was 20. Our winning numbers were 11, 26, 21, and 23. So if you followed us, you would have won that house. And I'm suggesting that the person said Andy was in the hospital. The hospital is a house. So that's how we got that capiche.
All right, okay. As opposed to my inadvertent 4. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So that was it, Lennox.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's it, people. We have come to the end of this very, very interesting program. I wish we had more time, but that being it, yeah. People, be careful on the nation's roads. Of course, it's wet, and sometimes they say it's heated, but nonetheless, be careful. And don't forget, we wish you all the best for Emancipation tomorrow, a formal holiday, and we will see you next week Monday when I will conclude my mediocrity, let's say, thought, and nestled in practical experiences that must have a particular conclusion. But we'll do that conclusion on Monday. Don't forget no corridor transformation tonight. Sorry, Andy not here.
Why
sorry, Andy not. Say something. Say something what Andy go say now, man. Say something.
No corridor transformation. Lennox is going to do his broke off for that.
I'm feeling good, boy. Friends like because I love to say friends like all you. People could do without. But anyhow, have a wonderful one, people, and God bless. Bye bye.
TTT News, every night at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
This Emancipation Day, we invite you to experience history, not through books, but through people, performance, and storytelling. From change to celebration on